goal is running and that's the goal, right? Then how do we break that down to where they can still do it without being totally limited doing nothing, and then like from ground zero, but not to a position where they're now compromised to where they don't want to do it or can't do it anymore. So like somewhere in there is a workspace. Just gotta find like what that is, you know.
So the way, that's money, by the way, what he just said. I start the conversation with running if someone says they want to start running again. How well can you jump? Is the first thing I ask. Running is a repetitive low-level jumping on one leg, is what we're doing. So usually when I start talking to people like that, then it makes sense why people get so injured when they run, especially when they haven't done it, because you're literally just doing a low-level hop repeatedly, over and over and over, especially for the people who just start running. The little, putt jogging is something a little different, but I think most people, they just kind of start, especially former athletes. I'm sure you've seen enough of them over the years where it's like they used to be, collegiate level this and that, and then I'm sure we all know people like that, and they just take off and start going. Or, they've gone from 25, they get a real job, they start sitting, and the next thing you know, they're 35, and they're like, I'm going to start sprinting again. And they blow their shit up, and they just don't know why. It's like, well, you literally went from nothing to the equivalent of high impact, short jumps out of nowhere. So I like to think of running as how do you build endurance and how do you build a foundation for jumping first, which is what we're going to do today. So for me, when I think about how we run efficiently, I think about how well can we absorb impact more than anything else. Somebody who's really freaking strong can still suck at running, because most people who are really strong are really good at concentric activity. They're not good at eccentric activity, especially eccentric to isometric activity. And that's all yielding. That's all that deceleration stuff, which is so often missed in what we do. So today we're going to talk about building the foundations of the connection of the plantar fascia to the calf to the glute. There's I think of running as a fascial muscular organization of task rather than anything else, because we have to teach everything how to be really stiff in an instant, and then how to be able to produce, absorb, and propel, all in a sequence. So that's where I'm gonna take it today. Do any of you guys have any issues right now with plantar fasciitis or foot issues? I know you got knee things. Okay, so we're not jumping today, so don't worry about that. I do want all y'all to go barefoot for this, barefoot, because I need you to I'm really big. Y'all, everything we're gonna go through today, I'm sure y'all probably seen me do to some extent. Holly, you've done some of this stuff with me. Shay and Bryson, y'all have maybe done some of this. So we're gonna go through the fun stuff. So the first thing, and we're gonna go through this as you're doing this with someone who's either never ran before or has been injured and can't run and wants to start running again. Or hasn't run since high school, however you want to go through that process. Let me readjust this camera now. And let's see, I'm going to bring this over here. So how many of y'all have gone through or heard me coach the pronation drill? Rocking heel pronation drill. Shay, Bryson, I know y'all have done that with me. This thing is on, right? I'm not just talking to nothing? Okay, cool. So we're going to line up on the turf, and then we'll start here. I'm probably going to move y'all to the hard ground in a second. Let's go sideways, this way. Dude. Yeah, and of course it's wide angle too, so you look giant. Okay, so when y'all think about what is pronation, what do y'all think of as pronation? With words.
Arching the legs.
Flattening the arch.
Okay, an arch going down. Is it an arch? Do you think of it more as an arch falling in, or as a foot flattening? Do you think of it as an expansion? Have you ever thought about the difference in all these things?
If it's just a collapse.
I think it collapsed, but it may
looks like different things for different people.
I would say that it has to be like a controlled kind of expansion. You don't want to just collapse it.
Yes, controlled expansion is probably the best way to think about pronation. For a lot of people, when you think pronation, it's demonized in the arch collapse. That's how most people think about it. Most of us we live in pronation, which some say is a bad thing. Like TJ's feet look like he's overly pronated.
Oh, I'm doing that purpose.
Oh, you are? Okay, never mind. Back off, we're gonna ignore that. So, when y'all think of pronation, if you look at your hand and you wrap your fingers on top of each other and you stack them like literally overlap fingers, I want you to think of pronation and like almost like you cupping your palms so you can really get an idea on what pronation to me is. If you're here and now these are your feet, right? When you pronate, all pronation is the flattening and expanding of the bottom of the foot. So what was cupped and what is tight is going to just spread and flatten. And then supination would be that stuff kind of contracting and doming back up. So it's not collapsing in, it's an expansive, it's a opening motion of the foot. I like to think of it as like bones spreading apart. It's like your foot is truly a trampoline, and normally it's up kind of tight for most of us. So we have to teach it how to open, unlock, and then it will hopefully naturally rebound back up. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay? So the gateway, the way I've started coaching this and the way I really feel like is the best way to unlock a foot, the heel is the gateway to pronation. So I'm not going to ask y'all any questions. I'm just going to leave that for a second. So the heel is a ball, right? Would y'all agree with that for the most part? And I know it has some curvature to it, and it has some concavity, and it slants one way and whatever. But if we want a foot to, let's see, Bryson, I'm going to use you here. Let me see if this is going to line up on camera. So Bryson, take your right foot, take a step forward. Okay, and I'm going to adjust this so we can see this here. All right, so if you guys want to kind of like position wherever you can so you can see Bryson's foot for a second. I'm going to be on this side. I want the camera to be able to see it, so if y'all want to like loop around here for a second. So take this foot back. We're going to go through this pretty quick for now because I want to spend time teaching y'all this. So if we bend the knee and we just take a second to settle into the heel. If the heel is a ball, right, and say my forearm is his shin, if we want the foot to go down and open up, the heel itself is going to have to roll forward, and that rolling forward is going to push into the arch of the foot and cause it to collapse and go down. And then if we were to roll back on the heel, the farther back we roll on the heel, there should be some type of natural supination and lift up. So the heel is what unlocks supination to allow pronation. Or you can think of just a heel rolling on the ground is what unlocks the foot to allow pronation. For a lot of us, we're not good at loading through our heel, or we overload our heel. So we need to get this thing, we need to build awareness of the heel as a ball that actually rolls through the ground and rolls straight forward. We're not going to worry about like lateral heel versus medial heel. We're not going to worry about any of that. Truly just a straight line load of pressure from the back of the heel to the front of the heel to encourage this to drop and go down. Any questions on that so far?
Sorry I missed the beginning. Is this for gait or just general exercise? Or?
So for right now, this talk today is going to be like, I'm thinking of it as like return to running for people who want to run or people who've had like nasty feet issues, Achilles issues, calf issues. I find a lot of people that we work with probably would like to be able to be more athletic. So think of this as like your entry to athleticism. It's kind of another way to think about all this stuff. If a foot can't do this and a leg can't do the stuff we're going to do today well, you're not going to be very athletic or not for very long because something's probably going to give up very soon.
Tell that to LeBron James and his messed up feet.
But you know, oh yeah, I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. There's nothing wrong with LeBron's squat. I'm just going to end that there. He's highly specialized. We're going to leave that there. I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot here. No pun intended. Okay, so any questions on that right now? As far as like how we're going to, like just as baseline, heel unlocks the foot, and then I'm going to talk y'all through this drill so we can all feel this. Okay? So this is going to work way better on hard ground now that I think about this for a second. So if we can take these benches and roll them out this way, and then I want all of y'all just standing on this. Here, I'll take that drink. Okay, everybody line up. Y'all facing the black wall over here. Okay, so just out of curiosity, who thinks their right foot is their strong foot?
What do you mean by strong?
Yeah.
Like, what's your strong leg?
Like jumping off.
Your dominant side?
Like, for you guys, like, who's got a strong right leg? Who feels like their right leg is their strong leg? Okay, this is not a trick question, guys. This is just a general question.
I would say I jump off.
I jump off my right, but I injured it in basketball.
Okay, cool. Does anybody feel like their left leg is their strong leg? Okay,
Okay, well,
cool.
you guys are, clearly it's not your right then.
Cool.
You're just different.
They're just different. Okay, so everybody take your right foot and just take a step forward. So y'all are going to stand kind of like this, just a little stagger. Both feet are on the ground, flat. I want you not quite shoulder width apart, a little narrower than that, and hands are on the hips. So as we go through this, if we are going to take the front leg, the front foot is the target foot. So everyone needs to take a second, straighten their front leg a little bit, and just feel your body weight drop into the right heel. And just feel for bony contact. For some of you, you're going to be like, what the hell is that? And just let your body find your heel. Some of you might wobble just standing there. Some of you might feel like your foot twitches a lot. Like, just feel for your heel, okay? From here, if your hands are on your hips and your knees are soft, right now it might feel more locked out, but not hard lock. All I want you to do, if thinking about the stack that we've spent the last few weeks talking about, if we feel like we keep a stack in our body and we move the stack forward, I just want you to go forward enough to where you feel as though your weight has transferred from the back of your heel to the front of your heel on the ground. And then you're going to just rock backwards.
Oh, chicken wing.
And I want y'all to just practice that for a second. So just feel weight rock from the back of the heel through to the front. And think of your heel as a ball. So as you rock forward, you have to actually feel as though that ball of the heel is rolling across the ground. And the heel will literally roll forward and create motion that way. I wish I had Isaac's foot model because I'd show y'all what I mean. It could. Does it hurt?
Yeah.
A lot?
No, it's one spot of it. It's not like the whole line. It's glute and hammy.
Okay, if you're feeling glute, that's wonderful.
Okay.
Okay? So, y'all following so far? So now, I want everybody to rock back on the right heel again. And I do want y'all to be very mindful of the back foot as well, because I want y'all to try to not lose the back foot if you can avoid it. If you kind of have to lose it at some point, that's fine. So we're all back on the right heel. So as we go forward, what I want y'all feeling for is if the shin, there's a sweet spot here. So I'm going to consider, for now, this is going to be like full reps or half reps. So a half rep of this is if we go from a positive shin angle here, way back here, to a negative angle. That's a full rep, just going all the way through. A half rep is where we go from behind the heel to basically vertical. Okay? Don't fall. So from here, we're only going to do half reps. So I want everybody to start back, to really zone into your foot, guys. Like loose, relaxed, dead weight on the ground. You're dropping all of your weight to the floor, and you slowly shift forward just to where you feel like you're vertical on top of your foot. And what you need to feel for is that the arch of the foot itself has begun to lower and flatten to some degree. And I want y'all to feel how just weight transitioning from the back of the heel to the front of the heel causes expansion of the foot, causes an opening of the arch, a spreading of the bones. Is anybody not feeling it? Y'all got me? Everybody good so far? Okay. So from here, does anybody notice if their back is kicking in? Feel your back? Yeah? Anybody else? No? So usually if somebody's back kicks in as they start to do this, quad, okay? So if a back kicks in a lot, but before I answer that, does anybody notice that their glute and their hamstring start to talk as they go forward? And then it kind of eases off as they go backwards.
Feel my foot.
Getting tighter or just moving? Moving. Okay. So as we load forward into the foot, if you feel a hamstring and a glute, ideally that's better because those are ground force tissues trying to produce an internal rotation, trying to produce a push to the floor. If you're feeling your back, your body doesn't know how to load your leg yet.
I think it's my back on the way forward. I think it's on the way back.
Okay. And that could be just a whole different thing.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody following so far? Okay, let's switch feet. This is the most time-consuming thing. So when you're ready, well, you can just start. Start with a weight on the back of the left heel. Take your time. Feel heavy. Think about your stack here. If you're starting all jacked up and crooked and wonky, it's not going to move well. And you're loose. Your body's loose. This is a very relaxed drill. For a lot of people, this is sketchy. Like, they don't like it. Like, they can't relax. They can't let their mind go. They can't relax their foot. And you need to really zone in to feeling the heel roll across the ground and feel the foot splay and open to the floor. For some of you, this is super easy. For some of you, it's not natural at all. So Bryson, I've been watching you. So when you roll through, your foot falls in a lot more. So what I want you to do is start off on the backside here. Feel like you're on the center of your heel. Wherever that is for you. Wiggle around until you feel like you're on the center. And then as you go forward, I want you to feel like your weight stays centered through the heel as you go forward. And you're going to try to potentially limit how much it actually falls in. Just to see if you feel different parts of your foot start to open up. So TJ, as you go forward, I can see you lose your heel about right there. It might feel like you're on the ground, but you're losing your heel contact. So come back, reset. So from right there, take a second to feel your heel really squish the floor and go really slow. And if you feel like you start to lose the heel at all, you've lost it. You only get to pronate as long as your heel can stay on the ground. So the longer you can delay that, the more pronation you're going to get. Chances are the better you're going to load through your entire leg up into your hip, and the less the knee is going to take the blunt of the force, or the ankle's just going to stiffen up.
Have you been watching my foot?
No. Actually, I have not. Yours doesn't, no, that one doesn't move at all.
Oh, good.
Yeah, your left one is super rigid. When we were doing the hip hinge last week, I saw all that. Okay, so because Scott has a super rigid foot, I'm going to pick on him. So bring this back. So take a second to find weight on the heel. So from here, as you roll forward, I want you to feel how as you roll forward slowly, your foot comes into my hand. Just to like there. Now from there, did you lose heel pressure at all? Okay. Cool. So I think you lost some heel pressure, so I want you to bend your knees a little and just find more weight that drops into your heel. However you can. From there, let the knee come forward a little more. Right there. Now I want you to actually physically try to push your foot into the floor. And just take a second to just feel how as you push down there, it kind of like opens up and squishes down. You feel that? A little bit, maybe?
Yeah.
Are you just saying that?
No, I think so.
Okay. So now roll back on the heel and just feel for as you roll back how your arch comes off my foot, or comes off my finger. And then we'll do it again. As you go forward, you roll. Feel the squish. Once you feel squish, push. and then rock back. Good. That lets you just kind of feel it a little more. Just highlight it all. Okay. Okay, so does anybody have questions on that as far as just pronation, kind of how to unlock it a little bit? So this easy baseline drill for people with stupid, tight, rigid feet, like this could take weeks to unlock. If you have a client who doesn't look like they have really stiff arches, they probably don't need this. But I find a lot of people need this. So I just wanted, like, everybody has a stiff foot, it seems. It just doesn't really look like it's stiff like you would think. So I think this is a really easy drill to teach people, especially if they're trying to, like, learn how to run and jump and be athletic again. Okay?
So with my foot, it was like moving too much.
Yours is like false pronation.
Yeah.
So when the whole foot falls in, that's not like pronation in terms of like relative motion, like this bone goes this way, this bone goes this way, this bone goes this way. Yours is orientation. The whole leg dumps in to create like false internal rotation. When in reality it would roll, half the foot goes down, the other half goes up, the lower part of the tibia turns in, the upper part turns out. We can go down the whole chain, we're not going to worry about all that.
In my
But
case, it could look like I have too much, but maybe my foot's not actually doing the job.
Yeah.
Right?
yours isn't doing the job. So me and Holly were working on her stuff the other day. Some people who have really heavy pronation need to skip straight into supination strength, whether that's heel contact or toe off, to learn how to create more stiffness in the foot itself to bring the arch back up. So an entry point to that is something called the calf bridge, which is what I'm going to have y'all do right now. Have any of y'all done the calf bridge with me? Okay, so Holly knows what's about to happen. So you're all probably going to cramp. Just so everybody lay on their back on the ground. We'll just do very much so. Let's say feet this way. Y'all just lay flat on the ground because harder surface works better here. Okay. So everyone knows what a calf contraction should feel like, right? So when you do calf raises, we're all in the same boat as heels should go up really high if we're really trying to get a hard contraction. Okay? I'm sure y'all have all experienced, I would think you've all experienced where you try to do calf raises and it doesn't feel like it gets high enough in the gastroc. It's like middle calf, it doesn't get all the way up, like high behind the knee. That's what we're going to try to do today. So I want y'all to feel the highest, nastiest contraction you can feel. And I say it like that on purpose. So from here, I want everybody to find the back of their pelvis flush to the ground. Okay? All right, so bony back of the pelvis-ish, just on the floor. So y'all remember the PSIS we've talked about? Feel for that on the ground. You're not drilling it to the ground or anything, just feel for it on the ground. From there, I want everybody to just simply float their heels as high as they can without clawing your toes. Your toes are not allowed to be a part of this. TJ, bring your legs closer together. Bryson, bring your legs closer together. Just closer together in. There you go. So from right here, heels are as high as they can be. Some of y'all might already feel your calves just sitting here. So I'm going to give you all a couple cues here to think about before we do anything else. One, think of pulling the back of your heel up to the back of your knee. Your Achilles is the anchor to do that. Part two, gas pedal the ball of your foot in the ground harder. Now from here, I want you to physically drive your legs in the ground while you do this with your feet so you can feel how the calf highlights and the high calf blends into the lower hamstring and potentially feels like the glute gets involved. Please don't forget to breathe. I see all y'all gripping your teeth. So from here, you're constantly fighting heels higher and higher and higher. You're constantly trying to drive your feet in the ground more and more and more. and you need to just genuinely think about that heel bone somehow trying to come up to the back of your knee while you gas pedal this shit out of the ground.
Shouldn't be cramping yet.
Oh, if you're not cramping yet, then you're not doing it right.
Are we bridging our hips yet?
No, your hips aren't coming off the ground yet.
So just turn on you said clench the glutes a little bit?
No,
Oh.
not even a little bit.
No, no hamstring.
Relax. Everybody relax for a second. Hamstrings will talk, yes. Yeah, hamstrings will talk. So just real quick. So if you float the heels first, once the heels are floated, you create pressure under the ball of the foot via like a plantar flexion, like a gas pedal.
Yeah.
From there, if you fight the feeling of heel up and gas pedal down, that should give you high gastroc, which should blend up into here. If you don't get that yet, and then from there, you start physically pressing your legs in the ground as if you're going to bridge, but you don't actually bridge. And that should really grip it up tight.
Okay.
And then you might feel your glutes at the end.
Okay, so everybody feel it?
Yeah.
The high hamstring contraction, high calf contraction?
What's high, like here or like up here?
Any of that.
Okay.
So we're genuinely thinking upper gastroc. So anything here, up to here, to in
I
here.
can really feel it like up in here.
Okay.
I'm only getting the outside. I think I'm rounding to the outside of my feet.
Okay, cool. So if you feel,
How does that look?
okay, so every feet on the ground. I don't want a bunch of like spread eagles for the video. Y'all know I used to teach kin stretch. I've seen every weird position you can imagine. So just because Kim said it, if you do this with somebody and they feel a lot of peroneal, that fibularis group on the outer part of the lower leg, they're not loading, they're not pressing down at that point. You're actually not pushing down. You're probably pushing out, or you're pushing like in and up, like you're skipping the actual pressure down. At that point, we'd go to one leg. So that's what we're going to do now.
I saw this one with your client.
So this is lovely. This is one of my favorite ways to make you hate me. So everybody get excited. Holly, take a breath. Okay, so everybody find back of the hips on the ground.
What's this doing?
We're creating a very deep contraction of the calf. So that way, as we get into anything more propulsion based or anything more load based, our body actually knows how to utilize the calf. A lot of people don't use their gastroc well. They just use tendon strength of the soleus and the Achilles, and then they shoot around the calf and they fucking load through their patella tendon, and it's like tendon, and they don't share load through muscles.
Yeah, it's my old man body.
So this helps with old man body. Okay, so one leg now. Y'all ready?
Yes.
So you will potentially bridge on this one if you want to make it spicy. So what was one worse than the other?
I think my left one is worse.
Okay, so find the back of your hips on the ground. From here, heels up. So plantar flex or gas pedal the ball of the foot down as you try to draw the heel up. Scott, I'm going to turn you like that. Now, y'all familiar with the first metatarsal head and the fifth metatarsal head? Y'all know what those are? So big toe knuckle, pinky toe knuckle. Those are what you're loading through on the ground. You were all toes. Yeah. So if you actually load through the forefoot and push down that way, right here. Push. Does that feel different, Scott?
Yeah.
Okay, you're still losing this one. Do you feel more calf now?
Yeah, I think it's great.
Okay, cool. So at this point, TJ, are you quitting on me? Okay. Okay. So from here, everybody pick a leg and pick up one leg.
Just pick it up.
Just float it. It's just floating. So while that one leg is floating, the other one is doing all the same stuff. You're driving into the floor. You're feeling weight through the ball of your foot, not your toes. You are constantly trying to draw the calf up higher and higher and higher. Consciously contract your calf. Push the ground more. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Relax. So for me, if a client can't do that for 3 rounds of 30 seconds, they have no right doing a jump. They have no right doing like sprinting for sure. They can do a light like plodding jog maybe, but they have no right doing anything that requires a 4-foot ball of the foot athletic explosive contact. Because if they can't do that and tolerate it, there is no way in hell they can integrate into an upright running forward locomotive position.
Is it 36 or
3 by 30. 3 by 30.
I feel like there's different degrees to doing that though. Like you can really, really push like as hard as you can to
Yeah.
and then you can kind of keep it up there. So like is there certain
So that's where, in terms of the different degrees of how you do it, that's where it comes in like your coaching eye to make sure they're not cheating. If they're doing it right, they're gonna grit their teeth, they're gonna vibrate, they're gonna cuss you out, they're gonna cramp, like, or they're just good enough at it. Like if everything looks right, they've got good 5th and 1st metatarsal contact. You can see the calf be tight. You can poke it and feel it. They can breathe and kind of relax while they're there and still own the whole thing. That's somebody who's just graduated. They're on to the next thing. But the 2 drills we just did, the pronation drill and the calf bridge, like 2 weeks of this, almost daily, will skyrocket somebody forward and being able to like be locomotive and be athletic again. And the cramping goes away pretty quickly once you get the hang of it. The first like couple days is a suck. First week sucks, but then you get better. Cool?
Cool. That's awesome.
Okay, now let's just stand up where we are. Because now I want to get y'all to feel what it's like to go from early stance to mid stance to toe off in terms of propulsion. Y'all don't need to know what I just said, but. Okay, so let's say left foot forward. It'll look better for camera. That's all I care about right now. Okay, so the pronation drill we just did. I want y'all to all start this the same way. So all the weight is back on the left heel, hands are on the hips. So from here, we're just finding that like load that's kind of back on the heel. You're gonna have the back heel up on this one. It's gonna help you transition better. So if we're loaded in the back of the heel, and the whole foot is flat on the ground, this is referred to as early stance. Y'all don't need to, it's good to know if you want to learn gait stuff, but for right now, this is early stance. So from here, if we're going from early stance to mid stance, true mid stance, all that means is we're taking our body weight from the back of the heel to the middle of the foot. This is true mid stance. So this is what I want you guys to think of as neutral positioning in terms of like loading, running, leg strengthening stuff. So this is where we're just going to find like, this is my neutral. This is what I like to think of this as. From here, we're going to stay here. So we're in the stack, trying to keep it to the best degree you can. Y'all need to take a second to feel as though you're allowing your body weight to drop into the middle of your foot. I want everybody to bend the knees a little bit more so you feel more weight drop into that front foot. And now from here, I want y'all to all imagine there's a scale underneath your front foot, and you are going to start to leg press down into the floor and put pressure into the floor. Holly, you're leaning forward too much. You need to bring your hips forward and your knee forward.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So your chest is too far forward.
Okay. Is that better?
Bend your knee a little bit more. Right there. So now bring your body back a little bit. Right there. That's where I want you to find your new position and push down. So if you guys are getting this right, all your weight's on top of the foot and just learning how to press into the floor, there's usually a vibrate. There's usually some type of like weird wobbly contraction. If you feel your quad, you're not pushing down, straight down enough. So you need to think about this. Yeah, we want to feel some type of hamstring and glute. Your quad is going to work. Okay, everybody following me? So now, if we keep that, Scott, do you feel things?
Where do we feel?
Is your leg working as you're pushing the floor?
Yes.
Do you feel your foot kind of squishing to the ground as you're pushing down?
Now I do, yeah.
Great. Okay, from here, I want y'all to just take this push down pressure, keep it, and now just move your body weight forward more to where you feel as though your heel gets lighter and lighter, but you're still stacked. You're still pushing down. This is usually where you get like really trembly. And I want y'all to try to go forward enough to where your heel is floating off the ground enough that a credit card could slip underneath it. But and once you find that heel beginning to float, that's where you start to crush into the floor. Bend your knee more. You're locking out your knee. Okay, y'all can shake it out.
I can't run, guys. I don't pack.
No, it should be a lot of calf. So if you get that right, it should feel like the calf lights up. It should feel like the farther forward you get and the more you push, the more glute you're going to feel. And then it's like everything just kind of like locks and stiffens and creates all this pressure together.
And then you feel like you're walking on air afterwards.
Yes, once you get that down, if you go to like walk afterwards, you're like, oh shit, that's what walking should feel like. Because a lot of us just like fall into the floor or stomp across the floor. But when you learn to truly like load heel to midfoot, back to toe, and you fully engage the ground through every portion of your step, and that's no, definitely not. Just ninja everywhere. Okay, let's do the other side. That was only one side. Because I want to take this into a couple things on the wall real quick so y'all can feel a little bit more athletic stuff that's more fun. Okay, we're going to go through this quickish. So first, right foot is forward. So find your stacky stuff. That's my professional term, stacky stuff. Once you feel stacky, bend both knees enough that you feel like your weight is hit the floor.
Yeah, I gotta find.
So,
Like bounce, I can find my midfoot
yeah.
better.
So something that I've been playing with different cueing here. This might sound weird at first. Let the tension pass your knee. Let your body weight pass your knee. Because a lot of people are super tight in their knee. So you're not letting your weight get to your foot. Let it pass your knee. Feel the difference? Okay. Calf should start to tighten. So from here, y'all more back of the heel right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Take it forward until you're in the middle foot. As you find middle foot, double check your stack. Let the weight pass your knee. As the weight passes your knee, you push it into the ground. And as you're pushing down, you don't let it stop at your knee. You keep pushing it to the floor.
I feel like my weight just keeps going down, up, down, up.
It's going to. So now we're going to slowly shift forward more and more until that heel wants to begin to float. And the heel only comes up enough that a piece of paper can slip underneath it or a credit card can slip underneath it. Kim, you got to bend your knee more. Soften it.
This one?
Yep.
Front one?
Yep. Now, once the heel is floating, you try to just leg press the earth away, but you don't stand up.
What if it explodes?
Then you won life.
Oh,
You won.
very tight.
Keep pushing,
Do you
keep
feel your
pushing.
Achilles?
Keep pushing.
Calf.
Give it a few more seconds. Ramp it up, ramp it up, ramp it up. Almost your entire foot should be on the ground except the skin of your heel. And then shake it out when you're ready.
Because when I bent, I finally felt it.
Yeah.
I do put a lot of love into the knee. I can't let go of it for some reason.
And that's where you might need to like do it like where your hands are on the wall.
Okay.
Or maybe you're like holding onto a squat rack so you can give your system some breathing room. TJ, what we're about to do on the wall might be the better integration. So it's not as much downforce. There's not as much shearing force through the knee. So we got to move these benches now, and everyone needs to lay out on the wall. Well, not lay out on the wall. Good luck. But
In front of the wall?
yeah, everyone on their back and with like,
On the wall?
yeah, feet on the wall, like a 90-90 position. I can see everybody. We're good. TJ, just because of the power you have in your legs, I want you to make sure you line up your foot with where the stud could be. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so for right now, I want everybody to scoot about 4 or 5 inches farther back. Probably about right there. Just like lazy 90-90. You're too far, Kim. You got to go farther forward. Okay, so TJ, Holly, you're too far. Scoot forward. Okay, so from here, I want everybody to play with, we're all going to, this right leg is the target leg right now. So everybody take a second to feel the back of their hips on the ground, that PSIS type area for just a start. You're going to lose that real quick. From here, everybody float your left foot off the wall. The right foot's still there. Yeah, then it's just, the foot is just floating off the wall. So I think, Scott, bring your foot down on the wall just a little, your right one, probably there. Kim, bring your foot down on the wall just a little, just a tiny bit, yeah, right there. Bryson, you're good. Shay, bring your foot down a hair, good. TJ, bring your foot down just a hair, right there. Holly, bring your foot down a little bit more, Holly. Okay, right there. So what I'm trying to simulate here is kind of sort of what we were just doing standing. So from my angle, I'm trying to get it to be like when you go to push the wall in a second, you can load and push straight through the middle of your foot. At least that's the goal, to start. So from here, I want everybody to just start gently squishing the middle of their foot into the wall. And I want you to eventually get yourself up into a hip bridge, but you are only allowed to bridge because you pushed your foot through the wall, not because you just threw your hips in the air. So you need to feel like it's very, very pressure driven.
How far?
As high as you can go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What should cramp?
Whatever cramps.
Okay.
So as you keep lifting, I need y'all to make sure you did not lose your heel. I need you to make sure you can feel your whole foot on the wall. You need to make sure you feel your hamstring and glute producing the push, not your quad. Everybody got it so far? Okay, so from here, I want everybody to slowly dorsiflex your foot so you rock back on your heel. You have not lost any push on your leg.
That's not true.
Now, from here, rock through your heel, through your foot, and into a calf raise. And you do not lose the pressure in the wall. Kim is Kim is vibrating. Slowly rock through the ball of your foot, through your midfoot, back to your heel. Do not lose the pressure in the wall. Okay, y'all can relax. Y'all can relax. All right. Kim's body's learning. Okay, so super fun, right?
Do it again.
We're gonna do it again. Other leg. Other leg, other leg. Okay. Scott, this would be a really good short if you want to get Kim shaking.
Oh, I was gonna try to be sneaky, but you.
Okay, so everybody start both feet on the wall. Look at your legs, make sure they look lined up, make sure they look relatively stacked. I want feet and knees like hip joint width apart. You ballpark that as best you can. Not outer hip, hip joint width apart. From here, y'all feel for the back of the pelvis on the ground for a moment, just to make sure everything's neutral. This is the stack coming back into play, even though you're laying down. Now float your right foot off the wall. Start very gently and slowly sinking your left foot through the wall. Pressure is going straight through the middle of your foot. And you are going to push slowly and steadily, 1% at a time. And you need to make sure that your body is going to bridge because you are pushing the wall and for no other reason than that pressure itself. And for some of us, the left leg is way easier. As you keep pushing and lifting, I need you to just keep feeling that sinking feeling, that pressure building. Your glutes should talk, your hamstrings should talk, and you just keep pushing more and more and more. Once you're as high as you can get in your bridge, you're going to own that for a few seconds. You do not lose an ounce of pressure in the wall as you now rock into your heel and dorsiflex your foot. From here, you slowly roll from your heel to your midfoot. You don't lose an ounce of pressure as you rock into your forefoot for a calf raise. And if you get that transition right, your hips should come up more because of the calf raise. You fight like hell to own it. Kim, fight that wall, you're doing great. You slowly lower the heel back down, reconnect to a middle foot, and then you guys can relax.
Great job.
And that is 1 rep on each side.
How many reps do you do with your clients?
10 to 12.
Holy mackerel.
Now the first round is slow and really detailed like this, and then once they get the hang of it, I just start getting them through it. So ideally, like, the first session is a teaching session. Oh, this has been way up over my shoulder. Shit, I hope the audio is not terrible. It's like sitting up behind my head. Sorry, guys. So, I mean, ideally when you guys are like doing this with someone, like first, please practice this yourself before you just try to like throw shit at the wall with a client and see what sticks. It's hard to do, but I think it's pretty straightforward as far as what we're doing. The biggest thing to remember with all this stuff is how we engage the floor and how we allow the foot to sense the pressure. The heel is one part of our gait and power, the midfoot is another part, the forefoot is another part. So there's 3 sections of your foot that play a lot in terms of how we're going to produce force and how we're going to work. So we got to use the whole damn foot. A lot of the times we over-cue heel pressure. If we over-cue heel pressure, we're actually throwing our clients' hips backwards. We're not allowing them to produce forward propulsion. If you want glutes to fire, you need midfoot and forefoot. You do not use the heel. That's why when you guys did all this, when you probably got to the calf raise and when you were doing the midfoot thing on the ground standing, as you got farther forward in your foot, you probably felt more glute. Glute is propulsion tissue, not yielding deceleration tissue for the most part. So I think that's a huge nugget to take away when we're trying to get like the target stuff we want. Cool? I think that's what we're going to call this for right now. Good stuff, guys.